Blue and red lights painted the pine trees like angry fireworks, sirens bouncing off the water, and there I was, standing on my cabin porch, hands open, palms up, as two police cruisers rolled to a stop on the gravel drive. Karen already waving her arms like a windmill, pointing at me as if I'd robbed a bank and was about to make my escape in a paddleboat, yelling, "That's him!" Before the cops even stepped out, her voice carrying across the whole lake. "Officer, arrest him. He refuses to sell. He's threatening the safety of our HOA. He's ignoring the mandate. I want him gone today." And I swear, in that moment I almost laughed at the absurdity of it, except my heart was shaking, not from fear of the police, but because I hated that this was what it all came down to. Lights and shouting instead of just talking things out like neighbors. Officer Davis, tall and calm-eyed, introduced himself while Karen was still yapping. "He's breaking HOA rules, blocking our community plan, operating without permission. We voted. He must sell. This cabin is a hazard, a blight." And the way she said blight, I could almost taste the sour lemon on her tongue. But I just stood quiet, letting the lake breeze hit my face, the loons calling across the water, thinking, man, it was supposed to be a peaceful night, the kind you save for hard days, just to remember the world can be kind. But Karen's words felt like rocks dropped in that calm water, ripples hitting everything. Davis tried again. Steady voice. "Sir, your side?" And I breathed out, said my name. Alex Carter said this was my cabin. I wasn't selling, kept my voice steady though my insides were twisting up. Not because I thought I'd get arrested, but because I hated seeing my dad's old place turned into a circus. Karen's laugh, sharp and cold, cut through the night. "You're done, Alex? The Lakeview Shores HOA has a plan. We're modernizing. Your old cabin's got to go. 5-story clubhouse coming. You had your chance. Now it's enforcement time." I turned to Davis, said, "Look, I haven't broken any laws. I keep this place clean, pay my dues, follow the rules. I just said no to selling. That's all." And I could see Reed, the other cop, looking at my porch, the rails I rebuilt last spring, the solar lights I put in so older neighbors could walk at dusk, the repaired dock, the community life jackets in the box. His face told me he wasn't seeing the rundown shack Karen was selling in her story. Then Karen whipped out a folder from her tote, waved it in Davis's face. "We voted, special meeting, forced sale. He's obstructing, intimidating me." And I just felt this wave of sadness, not anger, thinking about something my dad told me right here by the lake: fight hard for what's right, son, but do it with a gentle heart. The lake remembers who shouts and who listens. So I tried to listen, even as Karen tried to shout for both of us. Davis flipped through her papers. "Ma'am, this is an HOA letter about a sale program, but I don't see a court order. No safety violation. Do you have either?" Karen's mouth opened and closed. "The HOA has power. That's enough." But Reed explained, patient as a Sunday school teacher, "HOA rules aren't police law. Respond to crimes, safety issues." Karen's face was flaming red. "It is a safety issue. The cabin blocks the view, keeps property values down. There's a boat launch expansion coming. He's in the way." I pointed across the cove, said, "Public launch is over there. I helped fix the handrail so kids wouldn't slip. Ask Mr. Thompson." Davis gave the papers back. "We'll talk it over, but no one's getting arrested for not selling their home." Karen glared at me, jaw tight. "You'll regret this. You'll see who really runs this lake." The cops walked off to talk to her, and I just stood there, listening to the water and drifting back into Tometo when I was 8. First came here with my dad, Michael Carter, old blue pickup bouncing down the rutted lane, sunlight splashing on the lake, the cabin standing proud, cedar walls, tin roof, smoke curling from the chimney. Not fancy, but it felt like a hug. Dad made pancakes the first morning, burnt the first batch. We laughed. He taught me how to fish off the dock, how to sit so still a dragonfly would land on my knee. "Kindness isn't just for people," he'd whisper. "Be kind to the lake, to the wind. It'll make you kinder to everyone else." When he got sick years later, I brought him here to watch the sunrise, and he made me promise, keep this place safe, Alex, not just for you, but for anyone who needs a quiet shore. And when I moved back after college, I did my best to keep that promise. Patched the roof, sanded the floors, helped neighbors when I could, gave my ice cream to a crying kid on the dock, shoveled Mr. Thompson's steps, lent out my generator when the power went out. Not bragging, just what you do when you're lucky enough to have a good place to live. Back then, the HOA was small, friendly. We'd meet in the old boathouse. Everyone brought cookies. Then Karen moved in 2 years ago. Bright scarves, loud voice, talking about making the lake exclusive, fancier paddle boards, bigger clubhouse, making us premium. Some nodded, but others of us felt a twist in our gut. She started changing things. Painted sign replaced with big metal letters, fines for visual clutter, so the kids couldn't chalk the dock. Then the view corridor idea. Cabins close to the water had to move back, be replaced, for the good of the community. My place was first on her list. I told her, "No price is enough, this cabin is a promise." She smiled like a shark. "Everyone has a price, Alex." I said, "Not me, not this place." Letters started coming, friendly at first, then sharper, accusing me of holding everyone back. She said there'd be a vote to force sale. I asked, "What rules allow that?" She waved me off. "We'll make them, we have a vision." Late night meetings, new signs popping up, neighbors telling me they felt pushed. One said, "Karen scares me." Maria, a sweet neighbor, started wearing headphones just so she wouldn't have to hear the knocks. I sent the board a letter. "We can improve together without pushing anyone out. Let's be neighbors, not enemies." Signed my name, added a little loon drawing, posted it at the mailbox board. Next day, my letter was gone, replaced by a mandatory modernization notice. I knew then Karen wouldn't stop at words. I called a lawyer, learned what I already suspected: HOAs can't force a sale without a court order. A simple vote isn't enough. I reminded myself, kind doesn't mean weak. Back to that night, the cops finished talking to Karen, came back to me. "She says you threatened her." I almost laughed. "No," I said. "You'll be surprised how this works out. I meant maybe we'd find peace." Karen twisted hope into a weapon. Reed asked if I had porch camera video. I showed them. The video made it clear: no threat, just me asking for respect. Tired but not angry. Davis nodded. "No threat here, just a disagreement." Karen started getting desperate. "He's hiding something, shady business, thinks he's untouchable." Anger and sadness mixed inside Muhat make someone like Karen want to control everything. To lie? Fear, maybe. Reed told her, "We're not picking sides unless you feel unsafe right now. There's no arrest." She muttered, "This isn't over. The board meets tomorrow. We'll vote you into compliance." And drove off, gravel spitting. The officers told me to call if I was harassed. When they left, the night got quiet again. The lake breathing, stars pressing close. I sat on the porch, hand on the wood, thinking about the day I sanded that plank. The cedar oil smell. My dad's "Good work, son." I thought of the scared neighbors, the kids chalking dolphins, people who'd voted for the clubhouse thinking it'd be progress, not bad people. Just swept up by the idea that fancy means better. Maybe they forgot that quiet can be rich, too. Just then, Maria's little boy Jacob showed up, flashlight in hand. "Mr. Alex," Mom says, "are you okay?" And that tiny gesture undid the knot in my chest. I went inside to prep for the board meeting folder of documents, deed, repair receipts, state statutes, even a draft letter offering to mediate, to help build a playground if they'd pause the forced sale. Suddenly, headlights swept across the yard again. Karen's SUV. Back with 2 more cars, men in vests carrying clipboards, measuring wheels, even a chainsaw case, and a can of orange spray paint. My phone buzzed. Architectural committee. Pre-dawn survey. They marched onto my grass, boots crunching. "This is private property," I called out. Karen just grinned. "We can survey. We're marking the demolition line for tomorrow's vote." One guy shook the spray can and hissed a bright orange line across my portrait as more cars barreled up the drive. Flashing lights, officers out. Davis, Reed, 2 more deputies, flashlights sweeping. Davis's voice boomed, "Alex, step back." The men in vests froze. Karen's SUV door flew open. "This is official HOA business. You have no right." Davis shut her down. "Ma'am, you called us for help. Now you're trespassing here with tools. That's our business." Reed warned, "Spray anything else. That's vandalism." The men dropped their tools, shuffled away. Names now, Davis demanded. Karen stomped. You're wasting time. He's just a tenant. A squatter. Davis asked. Proof?
Date.
Lease. She sputtered. We'll get it tomorrow at the meeting. Davis told them to leave. I thanked the officers. The night settled. The orange paint glowing on my porch like a wound. I remembered Dad fight for what's right, but with a gentle heart. Tomorrow would be harder. Karen wasn't done. The board meeting dawned gray, lake still, my chest heavy. Community hall parking lot packed. Neighbors in clusters, some nodding, others avoiding my eyes. Karen stood at the entrance in her red blazer. Glad you decided to face the music, Alex. I walked past her, folder under my arm. Inside, the meeting felt like a trial. Karen banging the gavel, first order. Removal and sale of the Carter cabin. I stood up. You can't decide that without due process. She smiled. We already voted. You're just here for formality. I raised my folder. I have the deed. My taxes are paid. My cabin isn't for sale ever. Karen tried to smear me. He's not even the true owner. That was her big lie. Before I could speak, a board member jumped up. Let's approve demolition first, sort ownership later. The crowd erupted. That's not right. I shouted. This cabin isn't just wood and nails, it's history, community, and it's mine. You can't erase promises for a new view. The room quieted, but Karen shouted, Security! Two big men in black polos closed in bit before they grabbed me. The doors burst open. A man in a gray suit, leather briefcase, boomed, Touch him and you'll regret it. My lawyer, Thomas Miller. He strode up, set the briefcase on the board table. What you're doing is illegal trespass, attempted vandalism, demolition without court order. He flashed state statute, then dropped the real bomb. Alex is the landlord of 3 other HOA properties. Karen, you rent from him. The crowd gasped. Karen's face drained, sputtering lies. But Thomas pulled out rental agreements. The silence was deafening. I said, Karen, I never wanted this fight just to keep my dad's cabin. But you bullied people, lied, called the cops, tried to paint demolition lines. Now everyone knows. Mrs. Green stood up. I vote we stop this madness. The tide turned cheers, claps, Karen banging the gavel. Desperate. Thomas leaned in. You should stop before you dig deeper. Law isn't on your side. Karen snapped. This isn't over. Tomorrow I'll bring in the county inspector. I'll shut him down with code violations. I realized then, Karen wasn't just stubborn, she was dangerous. The next morning, county code enforcement showed up. Inspector Collins, clipboard in hand, Karen trailing, pointing out imaginary hazards. Collins did a thorough check. Minor repairs needed. Nothing unsafe. Karen lost it. You're not looking hard enough. This cabin's a hazard to the community's image. Collins told her. Image isn't my job. Safety is. The cabin stands. Neighbors started whispering, even laughing. Karen stormed off. If the county won't stop you, I'll take this to the state. But she was losing her grip. That night, glass shattered, window broken. Spray paint on my wall. Sell or else. I called the police. Officer Davis and Reed came, took photos, promised more patrols. Maria showed up, pale and scared, thermos of tea in her hands. Alex, you have to be careful. Karen won't stop. Later, a stranger arrived. Mark, the private assessor Karen hired, but he refused to lie for her. He handed me a statement. Observed vandalism not caused by owner. HOA president pressuring false inspection. Finally, proof. Maria and Jacob returned, worried but hopeful. If she can do this to you, what's stopping her from doing it to any of us? I promised them I'd stand up, not just for me but for all of us. That night, a new threat texted my phone. You should have sold. Tomorrow we finish this. I hardly slept, sat with my dad's bat, waiting for morning. The next day, Karen showed up with hired muscle, crowbars and chains. But when she tried to bully her way in, neighbors, Mrs. Green, Mark, Maria, even Mr. Thompson stepped up beside me. The hired men backed off. Sirens wailed, Police rolled up. Officer Davis read Karen her rights: harassment, vandalism, misuse of authority. She screamed as they led her away. "This isn't over. The lake belongs to me." But the community cheered, neighbors patting my shoulder, courage blooming where fear used to be. That evening, laughter and music drifted over the lake. Kids drew chalk dolphins on the dock. The cabin stood strong. I sat on my porch, breathing easy for the first time in months, remembering my father's words: fight hard, but with a gentle heart. Kindness had won, at least for now, because promises kept, like cabins cared for and neighbors defended, always outlast fear. So tell me, where are you watching from, and what would you have done if it was your home on the line? Drop a comment, because this isn't just my story, it's every neighbor's fight for what's right.